5. Hello, everybody. Happy Halloween! Now, this will be posted probably before Halloween, so pre-Halloween. Yay! So, it's the spooky season. So I watched a spooky movie, or at least what was billed as one. I watched Halloween Ends. In an awkward, weird kind of a movie. So, Halloween franchise. Pick your poison about which continuity you want. You want the OG timeline where Michael Myers is beaten to death by Buster Rhymes with a 2x4 and burns alive in a house. The other OG timeline where he's defeated by a ring of salt and cult crap happens. Or gets beaten up by Ant-Man. Pick your poison and director's cut. Then you have the Rob Zombie stuff. That happened. And now we have the current one, the Legacy sequel set of Halloween 2. Again, kinda. Which was 2018. And then there was, last year was Halloween Kills. Great title, by the way. Good name. And it sucked. I really wanted to like it. I did not. Halloween 2018, pretty fun. All the actors who were still alive came back. Jamie Lee Curtis was having a good time. It told a pretty good, fun story, and had a good ending. It should have ended right there. No more. That was a perfect ending. You stop. Done. Benito. And it made a lot of money. So they decided, hey, let's make this a trilogy, because that works out well. So, Halloween Kills. A filler movie. They literally have Laurie stuck in a hospital recovering from the last movie like she's Goku. She has to recover her power and her energy so she can save the day and defeat the bad guy in the next movie. So all that happens in that one, all these surviving actors from the previous films who felt like getting a paycheck, and a bunch of actors playing the kids who, from the original 70s movie, are now adults, and just all friggin' die. So, big feeling of accomplishment there for Laurie, saving them as children, just for them to die like idiots at her expense, or to awkwardly thank her and just die. That was a stupid movie. Dum. Anyway, and I also had a stupid catchphrase. Thankfully, this new movie doesn't say that catchphrase. Honestly, this new movie is kind of weird. Especially if it's meant as the final installment of a trilogy. It don't feel like that. This feels like another reboot of this little set of movies. It's a time skip, so the last movie pretty much negated, aside from one character death, which was in the last 5 minutes of the previous movie. So the rest of that movie, completely pointless, except for one death. And that death doesn't even matter particularly in this movie either. You could have written that out. So, great start. So there's a time skip, and weirdly, this movie does some decisions that I respect. They don't make it a good movie, but I respect what they were trying, which is something interesting, something different. Now, I am going to warn you all, if you care about seeing this movie, Halloween Ends, by the way, I should have said that earlier, I'm going to spoil the ever-living shit out of it, because you kind of have to discuss it. So this is your warning to get the hell out now. Overall, didn't like it much. I liked it better than Kills. I respect this movie. I didn't like it, but I respect it. So that's my quick blurb. So if you don't want spoiled, get out. So spoiler Halloween Town of spoilers. So when I saw the early reviews of this thing, they invoked a couple of specific movies. Halloween 3, which, aside from literally using the font from Halloween 3 in the titles, which, nice touch, I get the feeling that was meant to say, oh, they're doing something different, which I appreciate it, especially after the last one was just bleh. The other movie they invoke in the reviews of this thing, Friday the 13th, 5. I don't have enough fingers. 5. that movie, if you know that series, invoking that particular entry means a particular thing. That would be your franchise star, the masked man, is not the masked man the movie's following for most of it. That's right, we have imposter Michael Myers. This character, Corey, accidentally kills a kid in the opening, so whoopsie doodle. Kind of a brat kid, but, whoops. And after that, the town hates his ass. He got off for manslaughter or whatever, didn't go to jail. Accident, admittedly. So the town hates him. The town also hates Lori because they blame her for the serial killer dude coming to town. Which doesn't make much sense in this continuity. Michael don't give a shit about her. And they do stick to that in this, where the only reason he comes to attack her is people keep stealing his mask. And it winds up at her house. So he comes back to get it, and she just happens to be there to kill while he's there. So that's kind of fun. Fun little tidbit. Anyways. So, town sucks. They're kind of doing a thing to where, like, Michael's evilness is infecting the town and making it shit. Sort of like Salem's Lot being infected and corrupted by the whole vampire being in the place. So you're like, oh, this place sucks. And all the people who died off in the last movie, I guess, were the good people in town? Because everyone's left. Jackass. Like, oh, they die. Well, they're not idiots, but they're assholes, so... So, what happens is fucking funny. Because this kid, this new character is Coy, his life sucks, and he decides, hey, I'm gonna grow a spine, thanks to Lori inspiring him to grow a spine, gets his ass kicked by people who are probably about 5 years younger than him, which is a little strange. And then he meets Michael Myers, who has been living in the sewers for 4 years. So apparently after the last movie, he just wandered off into the sewers and stayed there and been killing hobos. That's it. Immediately this sets up something that the movie could have done, and this is one of the movies where I feel like there was probably 3 or 4 different scripts that they cobbled together and backed off of the good ideas from. You could read this as Michael went to the sewers, just died, and the kid's hallucinating all this shit for the entire film. That ain't what happens, but it's there. They could have very easily gone with that. They probably should have. So, he finds Michael in the sewers, and Michael looks in his eyes and gives him the killer instinct, which looks like a flashback of all the kills from the previous couple of movies into the guy's face. It's like, oh, well, I'm a serial killer now. And he learned the teleport, which was funny as hell. Like, oh, we can teleport now. Cool. He got some powers, superpowers. Shit, yeah. You can go do serial killer things. And it's funny because, like, Michael appears to approve. Like, he apparently meant to do that. He approves of the kid becoming a serial killer. So he's going through things. The kid's like, oh, I'm going to go start killing people who's wronged me, which, as you expect for this sort of story. Michael's tagging along. The kid puts on a scarecrow mask, goes out to kill a doctor and a nurse who've been sleeping together for reasons, and he goes to kill them. Michael tagged along to watch and help. There's a double teaming serial killer montage. Like, what? It's funny. I thought it was hilarious, but I'm like, when did Michael decide to have a protege? Like, have we had any indication he had these ideas? Was this a thing he was thinking about while he was in the sewers for 4 years? What else was happening? Lori's still here. This movie feels like when I said this movie feels like another reboot, it feels like it skipped a sequel where everyone just recovered from the last movie where they dealt with people who died, all their trauma, finding peace. And it feels like the movie is missing a giant opening chunk because of that. Because, like, everyone's character arc has kind of either closed or been reset. Lori's gotten off the booze. She's writing a book. She's come to terms and peace with things, aside from people in the town being assholes to her. The daughter, lost her parents, or the granddaughter, lost her parents, lost her boyfriend. He sucked. Anyways, so her arc is, oh, there's a new serial killer kid in town. I want to get in on that. So her quest, her arc for this entire movie is, I want to get laid with that serial killer boy. And he's like, cool. And Laurie's at first like, oh, what a nice boy. And then she looks into his eyes and realizes, oh no, Michael's killer senses are in his eye. Oh, I don't want that touching my granddaughter no more. So things go poorly. It looks like the movie at first is going to lean in with this ridiculous setup of new serial killer imposter Michael, Laurie's granddaughter, as a power couple, as a serial killer power couple. They don't go with it. They back off. And the kid literally fights Michael in the sewer, and the movie remembers like, oh right, Michael Myers is like 70 in this movie. Knocks his ass over, steals his mask, runs off with it. Kills a few more people, kills a radio DJ in a really gruesome kill. Like, that's actually the best part of the kill in the movie. Is like, ooh, that's gross. Way worse than the rest of the thing. Then he goes to Laurie's house, and she fakes him out, kicks his ass, and he decides, well, I've lost. I lost. Time to kill myself. Killed himself. And times it so Laurie's granddaughter shows up right as she's pulling the knife out of the dude's neck. So it makes it look like, oh no, my grandma's crazy and killed my serial killer boyfriend. Oh no. And she takes off. And then Michael, who apparently followed and watched this whole thing happen, he's here. He's like, well, time to cash my check. Gotta have to give the actual fight the entire movie's been building towards. Last several movies have been building towards. Again, we're not going to talk about H2O right now. We'll get to that later. So they fight. The both of them are as old as shit. It's not good. And Laurie's about to get killed, and the granddaughter saves her. They crucify Michael to the kitchen table with knives, which is kind of funny. And we get a very, I guess it's meant to be like sad and symbolic of a defeat from Michael. They just slit his wrist, cut his throat, they mask him, and he's dead. That's it. No grand, big surprise fight or big boogeyman attack. Nah. He's an old man, take off the mask, they kill him, we're done. That's it. Kinda low-key, honestly. I get why they're doing it. It's just, kind of there. Not great. What they do next is funny though, because they decide to lean in on the whole town has to heal, and by healing I mean let's strap a corpse to the top of a car, drive the car through town, and the cops follow and give a funeral procession because they're perfectly fine with this murder with this guy who's dead being hauled on top of a car to the junkyard, and they feed his dead ass into a car grinder, and he pops like a friggin' melon full of blood. He dead. This movie's set. Pretty done. Michael pretty dead. I don't think he's going to come back for this one. When they get back to this series, it's going to be another reboot, because he dead. Laurie's old as hell. No one else cares about anyone else. They killed off everyone else from the previous movies too, basically. So, yeah, we're done here. Pack up your shit, go home. So, awkward ending. Somber, kinda. Low-key. And after the last two were big, bombastic things, ending this thing with a weird, essentially a side story, feels weird. This feels strange. Strange choices. Admittedly, this thing was clearly never meant to be multiple movies. This was meant to be one movie, designed to be a finale, and they just kept going. And they didn't know what the hell to do with it. So, I appreciate them basically pulling a Friday the 13th Part 5 by having an imposter. Something different, something new. The last time this particular series pulled something new and different, we got Halloween 3. I enjoyed that movie. I'm not going to call it good, but it's very enjoyable. So that was, and considering most of this entire franchise is nothing but Michael Myers killing people, it gets really stale fast. So I appreciate different things like Halloween 3, and I appreciate Halloween Ends existing. I don't like it, but I appreciate it exists and what it was trying to do. I respect it. I'm never going to watch it again. I'm going to make fun of it, but I respect it. And I really disliked the Halloween Kills, so I guess that's a improvement? A plus? Happy Halloween. Later. Surprise! Extra video. I'm going to talk about the Halloween franchise as a whole. Talk about my general thoughts. Give you a review of the franchise in a couple of seconds, or a couple of minutes. So, Halloween 1. Original, 70s. Classic. I liked it. It's good. Kind of slow by modern standards. No gore, basically, because 70s movie. It's a prototype of slasher. It's mostly suspense. It's fine. Halloween 2. The first one. The first Halloween 2. Not as good. Less suspenseful. Better gore. Not that great. It's just fine. Clearly meant to be an ending. Would have been a good spot to stop with Michael in general. But they didn't, because there's more movies. Halloween 3. Good idea. Cool idea. Making this franchise an anthology. Should have done that. Should have stuck the course. Stayed the course with it. They didn't. Everyone hated this movie when it came out, so they backed off, brought back Michael. You know, he got friggin' incinerated in an explosion. He's back, he's fine, he just has some burns. It's fine. Loomis comes back too. Also with a little scar on his face from being incinerated entirely. Anyways, Halloween 3. Pretty fun, entertaining. I can't call it good, but it is entertaining. I recommend seeing it at least once. And the jingle is spectacular and will be in your head for all times. Also, Druids. Fruit Magic. It's fun. Halloween 4. Boring. Halloween 5. Also boring. Halloween 6. Did this series need cults and druids? Apparently. This one is fun because it has a horrific production history with the director's cut, people taking their name off it, becoming Alan Smithy, that whole shebang. 2 cuts of it, they both suck. One makes more sense than the other one's edited to hell, but has hilarious turbo gore. Look both of them up, or at least a video showing the differences, or some reviews. Probably the best way to look at that movie, because it's actually kind of shit. Also, Ant-Man's there, so, hi Ant-Man. Don't worry, Marvel will happen a decade or 2 later. You'll be fine. Halloween H2O. H2O what? Halloween water. 90s as all hell, because it was the time. It was the time of Scream, the time of I Know What You Did Last Summer, all those. And oh god, this shows. It's not, I can't call it good either, mostly because it's boring until the last few minutes. The last few minutes were just nothing but Jamie Lee Curtis fighting Michael Myers as a knockdown, throwdown fight, and they're both fairly young, so it's actually pretty good, and has a great ending to the fight. It's the best ending. It's literally where the franchise should have ended again. Laurie pins Michael to a tree with an ambulance and chops his head off just like that with an axe. Pretty fun. And then they decided to make another movie, Halloween Resurrection. Always a good sign when we're starting to get resurrections and retributions and revenge. Revenge is fine. Retributions in your subtitles for your sequels. So at that point, hey, turned out Michael Myers, the dude who has never shown major planning, got himself loose in an ambulance, stripped a dude, stole his clothes, put his clothes on the ambulance guy, and let him be the one ejected out of the ambulance and killed by Laurie. And he apparently hid the entire time. And they kill Laurie off in the opening part of the movie in an asylum. Great, respectful movie to your franchise and characters. Good job! And then the rest of the movie is, hey, it's another 2000s era relic. Reality shows. Let's put a reality show in the Michael Myers house. I'm perfectly sure this will go swimmingly. It does not. And Busta Rhymes is here. He's doing Busta Rhymes. Kinda. He's not willing to pimp my ride. He's just doing stuff. And he beats Michael Myers up with a 2x4 in the middle of a burning house. And since there's no more movies in this timeline, he killed him. Done! We're done with that. Okay, that's how our franchise ends. Bah! I can't decide if being stuck in a druid circle of salt was a better ending for the last one, or, again, being beaten the shit up with a pipe and left for dead. I got bad endings in these movies. And then we had the Halloween Rob Zombie editions, which, first one, so, you know how over-explaining a character who's mysterious will break them? Yeah, this is Exhibit A of how to do that. Knowing Michael Myers had a bad childhood and was a little shit who had horrible parents and a horrible home life and eventually became a serial killer because of this treatment, makes sense. It's not that interesting, though. And Rob Zombie, Rob Zombie. I like you in theory as a director, but you are terrible with your scripts. Your scripts are all really, really bad. Really, really, really bad. And you have a horrible problem with casting people in completely wrong roles. Like your wife. Yo, I'm sorry, lady. You seem nice, but you can't act very well. I'm sorry, honey. No, you should not be here. In 90% of these movies, you should not be present. I'm sorry. You can play crazy lady. That's all you can manage. And it's even not that good of a crazy lady. Like, there's a half dozen actresses who are way better at it than you. I'm sorry. I know your husband keeps putting you in movies. It's the same problem with Mila Jovovich and her husband that was making all those Resident Evil movies. Those suck, by the way. I'll talk about those another time. Anywho. So, the Rob Zombie movies just add additional crap that's unnecessary, and then the second half of that first one is just redoing the original 70s movie again, but not as good. There's some good ideas. It looks nice. It's got a nice visual style, because, hey, Rob Zombie actually is a pretty good director visually. He don't know what he's doing when it comes to his actors, but visually he knows what he's doing, because, hey, music video background. He knows how the things work with the camera and the visuals and the yada yada. So, not great movie. He gave, what's his name? Clockwork Orange got a pretty good paycheck. He's actually not bad. He'll pretend Loomis was some sort of saintly character in the original series. He's kind of the worst doctor of all time, so Malcolm McDowell playing a way more asshole version is completely on point. This is like just removing the kindly grandpa half of Loomis out because he kept putting kids in danger and being a dick to everybody. The Malcolm McDowell one is just way more honest about being an asshole. I don't mind that. Then there's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Again. It is, interesting. I like it better than his first Halloween. There's more happening here. It's about Laurie becoming kind of a goth punk girl and like rebelling against her new foster parents. And since we did keep the idea that Laurie is Michael's sister in this continuity, she's like being haunted by the evil stuff around here of being related. Like, you're seeing Sherry Moon Zombie's back on a white horse in these ridiculous but funny ass visions. Because, oh god, the symbol... I can't think of symbolism more heavy, just like, symbolism, to steal an old joke from a dead show. There's, thing here. Yeah, it's entertaining, but bad. And honestly, because it's different stuff going on, it's not just a retry of the first movie, and the doofy-ass visuals are pretty fun, I actually kind of like that second one. It ain't good, but it's entertaining. I'll take it. And Turbo Speed Round and that's the last. They only did 2 of those, so that's it for that franchise. Michael gets shot full of bullets and dies after saying, said die, because Michael Myers should speak, apparently. He dead. We're done. And then we have our reboot quel. Let's try this again with another Halloween 2. Hope you call Halloween again, but it's 2018 now. Pretty good movie. Good legacy sequel. Everyone's back. It's good. It's fine. Should have ended there. Had a great ending. They kept going. Halloween Kills. sucked. Boring. Filler movie. Bleh. Halloween Ends. Sucked. Weird. Side story for 9% until the last 20 minutes, which literally could have been the ending of the previous movie. And it's just an odd, awkward spot to put things on, and Michael's fed into a car shredder. He dead. We're done. Good night.